Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Fall 2023 Demo Day. My name is Michael DeSpirito. I'm a senior in the college, and over the last year, I've had the privilege of serving as the CEO of Georgetown Ventures. We have a great night ahead of us, but before we dive into the program, I'd like to take a moment to share a bit about who we are. GV is Georgetown's student-run startup accelerator. We launch and scale the best startups you will see come out of Georgetown. We were founded in 2017, and like all of the companies pitching tonight, our organization started with a moonshot idea to transform the world around us. The hilltop is our world, and GV was built to be a stepping stone for the incredible entrepreneurs within. Each semester, we operate an intensive 10-week accelerator cycle that supports promising Georgetown startups through our two signature programs, both of which you will hear from tonight. And while the GV team is comprised of strictly undergraduate students, our founders proudly hail from all corners of Georgetown, including the undergraduate and graduate populations, alumni, and local veterans. Since 2017, we've worked with over 100 companies, which have gone on to raise over $35 million. But as impressive as that sounds, a fundraising total does not begin to describe the way these men and women shape the world around them. The founders we work with are mission-driven, innovative, compassionate, and in an environment where far safer career options are well within reach, they truly embody service for others. We support our startups in three ways. Our strategy teams own work streams related to product and executive decision-making. They are well-versed in topics such as customer discovery, product design, go-to-market strategy, and fundraising. Our talented creative team helps startups find their unique brand identity, producing professional-grade brand books complete with custom logos, color palettes, and voicing outlines. And finally, our tech team promises each startup the knowledge of a technical co-founder, providing custom-built websites, task automations, and rapid product development. Yet, despite how hard they work, I'm not sure our students understand just how impactful they really are. Over a semester, each founder works closely with a team of 8 to 9 students across these three divisions. That means GV provides over 3,000 hours of labor each semester. This work guarantees each startup leaves the accelerator with tangible, strategic, technical, and creative assets amounting to nearly $15,000 in value. That's life-changing. But our students don't think about it in terms of dollars and cents. They work as hard as they do for a genuine desire to see their founders win. And that's the beauty of a student-run program. Entrepreneurs want to work with us because students have qualities that make them the perfect startup consultants. They're creative, accessible, down-to-earth, high energy, and they're motivated for the right reasons. The truth is, you won't get a paid consultant on the phone at midnight, but we always pick up because we're probably allow anyway. And what I consider our greatest strength of all is that we're too inexperienced to know when something is too stupid to try. And as I reflect on the rapid growth of our community, I can't help but think back to my first year in the club. I was working on a project team with my now COO, Dan Sipple. Let me say, we were just happy to be there. Today, big news coming out of Georgetown Ventures looks like a founder raising a pre-seed round or winning a major client. In those days, a big win for the startups was when I figured out how to recover a Gmail password. But one thing I'll never forget about that semester is going apartment to apartment with Dan and interviewing students. See, that's the GV DNA. We step outside of the PowerPoint and we get hands-on with our work in a way that's empathetic to the founder experience. And whether that's spending 8 hours on a Saturday to prototype or bar hopping to win a client, these students always find a way. Despite the big steps we've taken over the last year, including a 300% increase in startup applications and a founder continuation rate rapidly approaching 100%, I smile knowing that the core GV spirit holds strong. And that leads me to why you're all here tonight. As a student group, the success of our cohort relies on the way we engage with faculty, alumni, and local entrepreneurs. Tonight, you can help bridge the gap between where these founders are and where they want to be. I don't need to explain to you the power of the Georgetown community. Within this room lies the keys to unlock the doors to founders, the doors that founders might not even know exist. We hope tonight's event catalyzes a relationship that changes the course of a startup journey. One of the founders you will see later tonight found their first investor and advisor at our spring demo day. And actually on that note, I will warn that he has a history of making guest speakers attach electrodes to their head. So Sina, watch out, man. On a more personal note, Tonight is my last event as Georgetown Ventures CEO. So before I turn things over, I just want to extend a few thank yous to all the people that made this year the most rewarding and gratifying of my life. First, thank you to Dan, David, and Allison, and the entire GV board. I cannot begin to repay you for the hours you've spent making GV what it is today, for wholeheartedly believing in every far-fetched idea I brought to the table, and for showing me grace even when I knew you wanted to kill me. And in that same vein, thank you to each and every student in GV for making all this possible. Your service, your passion, and your love for each other has made GV a force to be reckoned with. Thank you to Professor Reed, Ben, and Aveline from the Georgetown Entrepreneurship Initiative for seeing our vision for a student-run accelerator and supporting our mission. Thank you to GV Director Will Hansen for your heroic execution in planning tonight's event. And finally, thank you to every alum, faculty member, and fellow student who shared words of encouragement over the years and inspired us to build a program that truly changes lives. I feel incredibly blessed to have found a home at GV, and while there's a bittersweetness that comes with moving on, I take pride and solace in knowing that the Georgetown Ventures legacy is far greater than any one person on the team today, and I'm confident that much of our story is yet to be written. And with that, I'm honored to turn it over to tonight's MC and project manager for Orbit Technologies, John Whelan.
Thank you, Mike. In the same way, he said he wasn't sure if we all knew how important we were to GV. Mike is truly the heart and soul of everything we do, and we can't thank him enough for how important and how special he's made this place for us. And thank you all for coming. We're really excited to have you and to share the startups and the founders we've been working with this semester. My name is John Whelan. Oh, that's Michael. My name is John Whelan. I'm a junior here at Georgetown. In the past, I've served as an analyst in VA, and I've also been the director of startup engagement. This semester, I'm working with Orbit, which is Stephen and Colton right there. You'll hear from them later, which has been incredibly fun. This evening, the agenda for tonight, we'll be starting off hearing from our VA startups, 4 of those. And the Venture Accelerator program at Georgetown is really designed to meet existing startup founders where they are. And we really tailor that program to meet founders where they may be and work on specific project goals that help them at whatever stage of the growth cycle they may be at. If you could scan this QR code just to get some more info about the startup founders, the startups themselves, and other important entrepreneurship events happening around Georgetown, we'd really love to engage you with that as you follow through tonight's presentations. To kick it off, I have the pleasure of introducing Sky, which is founded by Tony Lin and Jessica Wolf. Tony, who will be presenting this evening, is working on building a disruptive platform that helps in the executive coaching space.
Hello? There we go. Hi, everyone. So we are Sky, a platform for life, executive coaching, leadership coaching. My name is Tony Lin. I am the co-founder and chief product officer of Sky, also a proud Hoya. Now, I'll start off with a little story about how I discovered the executive coaching. Now, my journey here has not necessarily been linear. I'm a bit of a job hopper in history. And I discovered executive coaching at Columbia Business School, where I was doing my executive MBA, got access to executive coaching for the first time, and also met my future co-founders. And one thing I discovered was that executive coaching for me, I was a product director at Gartner working on recommendation algorithms and data products, technical stuff, was that what that represented in terms of my development and growth as a leader and where I wanted to be, that there was a huge gap, and business school wasn't really going to help me complete and make the leap. And so really what I needed to work on was my leadership skills, my soft skills, my understanding of people, my critical thinking skills, and really optimizing what I was best at. And I discovered I could only really do that with an executive coach. And that's the very opportunity that we see at Sky with executive coaching. In the last decade, over 29 million baby boomers have retired. And then by 2030, another 41 million are expected to retire. It's no wonder that every single organizational development executive we speak to at the Fortune 500 thinks about succession planning for 2035. Now, I know many of you are still an undergrad, so 2035 feels like an eternity. It's also probably when you turn 30, so you probably don't want to think about that. But it's a real problem. Who is going to lead these organizations? Harvard Business Review did a recent study. There's a $1 trillion value opportunity for improved succession planning at the S&P 1500 level. What that means is that every leader they're developing today, or every leader they could hire tomorrow, needs to be in a place to succeed, excel, and lead these organizations through dislocation and change. And we've already seen a massive change in the last year alone, introduction of ChatGPT. And so we are Sky, again, data-driven coaching platform. We support organizations, leaders, and executives by matching experienced operators who have become coaches with leaders who need that type of support, development, and coaching, but also want someone who understands their operating context, who understands what they're facing on a day-to-day challenge, and have ideally been in their shoes before. And here's an example. Noah, Forbes Under 30, media CEO, founder, he needed a coach to help them lead his 50-person organization continuously in revenue growth and through change. And he ended up working with Nick Kim, former finance leader, former executive at Warby Parker, where he led the Try at Home experience, and also a VC leader, now a general partner. And Nick brought that level of experience, empathy, and understanding to the founder experience that really Noah needed, and needed that type of support and guidance. Furthermore, Sam, video game CEO, entrepreneur, he ended up matching with David, who doesn't look like it, has experienced 2 different disruptions and dislocations in his career. He was at MGM when VHS was released. That was a 10-year transition and transformation for the entertainment industry. He also led Sanihon Entertainment through the DVD evolution and transition. That type of experience of leading through change is not easily replicated. And it teaches you lessons about not just how to lead people, but how to lead organizations through times of disruption. And so we have made an expansion as well, not just supporting individual founders, entrepreneurs, leaders, to supporting teams of startups, and now Fortune 500. Actually this week, launching 27 leaders from team leads to senior directors at a Fortune 500 company for a 6-month pilot that could grow to 100 individuals next year. Earlier this year, we launched with a publicly traded financial education platform, 8 leaders who are business unit leaders who have P&L, profit and loss responsibilities, but have never led organizations before, never knew how to be a mini CEO, but needed that level of context, creativity, and ingenuity to help power the next transition in their careers. And so we've done this with a small but mighty team of 9, closing in the last 2 years over $2 million in gross coaching sales, with more to come, $700K of B2B sales, and expected to triple our B2B revenue year over year this year. And we're a team that's built to succeed in the future. So I know GV has asked us to make a very clear ask. And so how can you help? Well, maybe you can do this, maybe you may not, but we're asking for introductions to talent development and organizational development leaders, individuals who are thinking about how their organization will develop and change throughout time, in the future, and also develop programs to help support their next generation of leadership. If you're a founder or know a founder or executive who could support or needs additional support and can use the services of an executive coach, please reach out. And then if you want to try coaching yourself, it's www.joinsky.com. and you can reach me at tony@joinsky.com.
Company. Thank you. He's created an awesome space for our analysts this semester and taken a real interest in helping them with their career goals and their growth. So we can't thank you enough for that. It's been incredible. Up next, we have Orbit, which is a neurotech company that's looking to change what immersion really means in gaming. In addition to having the pleasure of working with them this semester, I'm good friends with both their founders, and I'm really excited to see you guys kind of experience their presentation. The two founders, Colton Elhaber and Steven, will come up and present and share an idea that they shared about 1 year ago with the GV family. So really excited to have them introduce it to you guys.
Liam, this isn't funny. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Steven.
I'm Colton.
We run a company called Orbit, which makes neurotech for gaming.
What we do is we have a neurochip that sits on the back of your ear. And with non-invasive electrical signals, we stimulate the motion centers of your brain and induce hallucinations of movement.
And we take those hallucinations and we synchronize them with video games. So if you feel like you're flying or spinning in a game, you actually feel like you are flying and spinning in real life. And yeah, it's kind of magic. And yes, if you want, you can actually try it out after this demo day. But I've stood on this stage so many times and pitched to so many of you about Orbit, like 3 or 4 times, that we wanted to do something different. Today here, we are going to tell you the full actual story of Orbit and the full, complete plan of what we are going to do. So it starts about, by the way, this is what we built. It starts about a year ago, in my freshman year, when I had a lot of time on my hands. And I figured I'd fill that time by learning a ton about, well, whatever I wanted to learn about. And one of the first things I did was learn a ton about neuroscience. And my first neuroscience obsession was with this process called galvanic vestibular stimulation, which is the process of sending electricity to the movement centers of your brain to generate hallucinations of movement. And when I say I got obsessed, I got really obsessed. This is like 1 week's worth of internet history. And I loved it. The papers were great. But what sucked about them was they'd always say, like, oh, while cool in theory, you'd never be able to commercialize this because of X and Y and Z. And I'd be like, these sound like really stupid reasons not to try. And so me and my friend Monty ran down to the supermarket and bought a bunch of 9-volt batteries and sponges and stuck them around on our heads and started shocking ourselves to see if we could do any of the things that the papers said we couldn't do. And we could, which said to me that the papers were full of shit. And so as a socially well-adjusted human being, I decided at that moment to dedicate my entire existence to building exactly everything that they said we could not build. So for the next few months, we got some money from Georgetown. We built out a couple prototypes. We actually got our first investor, as Mike said, in this event, but in the spring. But as I was building, I'm kind of like a theory-heavy guy, and only really like an amateur builder. I was hitting these like bumps of like I wasn't able to push the product as fast and as far as I knew it could be pushed, and that really chopped me up inside. And then it killed me, and that's when I met Colton.
Yeah, when I first met Steven, I thought he was nuts. If you've also met him, you know that's pretty fair.
And when I met Colton, I immediately realized that he was probably one of the best engineers I'd ever seen. But probably because of that, he had an offer to his dream job. So I was like, I probably couldn't get him to come, build that thing with me.
I went to my dream job, and I loved it. But even as just an idea, I loved this even more. So after about a month, I called Steven, and I told him I want to join.
And I was like, yeah, let's fucking do this thing.
So we spent the next few months spending every second of every day just pushing the tech as far as we possibly could.
And as we started making breakthroughs on these things that no one else has ever thought we could do, I started realizing the full potential of what we'd done.
I still remember the time where Steven first tried our tech integrated with VR, and I saw two looks on his face. The first was just absolute wonder, and it told me that I needed to try it immediately after him. But the second thing is actually something I see pretty often. It's just this inhuman focus that says Steven's kicking it into high gear strategy mode.
Because I had a plan, and it was a plan to build something bigger than we'd ever imagined we could build. And the more I thought about the plan, the more I was like, holy fuck, this is actually gonna work. And so one day I grabbed Colton, I told him the plan, and we were like, let's fucking do this thing. All we needed was a little bit more money and a couple genius engineers like Colton. And so we went and we found the craziest, smartest investors we could find, and we talked to all of them.
I showed them the tech, Steven told them the plan, and every single investor that we pitched to made an offer to us.
And it made sense, because sometime during August, I realized that we unlocked the ability to build a gaming experience that was 10 times better than any experience that had ever existed in all of history. And that there were a lot of people to sell it to. Take a look at this. These are like people who are actively spending money on solutions that are patently worse than what we make. And it's occurred to me that if we captured a tiny amount of literally any of these like droves and droves of people, we'd be able to sell quite reasonably like 100,000 units within 2 years. And that if we sold it at a reasonable price point with a reasonable revenue multiplier, within 2 years we could be valued at more than Neuralink.
Neurotech will change everyone's life, like the phone in your pocket. When it does, we need to make sure that it's actually good.
So this crazy plan, which is actually not so crazy, is kind of simple. We are going to build the biggest fucking neurotech company in the planet. And we're going to make sure that neurotech actually does good for the world instead of, evil.
That's the mission.
And we're actually going to do it. Like, seriously, we are about to go do that. And so if you want to be a part of it, email me. Like, seriously, if you want to help, email me. Even if you think you can't help in any way, just send me a goddamn email, because we are about to change the course of history. And believe me, we are going to need all the help we can get. Thank you very much.
Check. In addition to being captivating presenters, they also make me and my team feel incredibly self-conscious about our intelligence on a weekly basis, so hope they were able to do the same. But thank you, Steven and Colton, for an incredible semester. They've always been a part of GV and have made everyone feel super part of their mission, and it's been a great experience working with them. Up next, I have the pleasure of introducing Marissa and Michael Nelson from Intimacy Moons. They're a couple that built a company that is recommended by the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, and they offer world-class couples therapy. So I'm happy to welcome Michael here today.
So they put me to follow Steven. Great. That's exciting. Okay, well, I won't match his energy, and obviously can't match Colton and Steven's mind, but we will do. So we'll make do. So my name is Michael Nelson, class of 04. I am not the person smiling on the screen right now, who is much prettier than I. I'm the CEO, the Chief Operating Officer, and co-founder of Intimacy Moons. My co-founder and partner in life and in love and in business, Marissa Nelson, couldn't be here tonight because she's down with the war of first grade is upon her, and she has a really violent cold at the moment. But she is the visionary, and she is a certified sex therapist, licensed marriage and family therapist. Actually is one of only 4 African Americans with her designations in the country. So obviously somebody who is really skilled and gifted in her craft. Intimacy Moons is Intimacy Moons empowers emotional well-being and satisfying relationships with experiences that last a lifetime. So really and truly, 66% of US travelers go on vacation to work on their relationships. And we thought that was a startling figure. But the way in which we found that is because Marissa was in her private practice and found, hey, people would say, we were having so much trouble with our relationship and we went on vacation. We, really just needed a break from the trials and tribulations of life, and so we went on vacation. And so we thought, well, wait a minute, there's a trend here that's happening. And of these people who go on vacation to work on their relationships, 11% of them are doing that primarily because they want to work on their relationships, not just because they want a massage or because they want to go on the beach and then maybe work on their relationship. They're going because their relationship needs work. And so we developed these destination luxury couples retreats tailored to the very unique needs of travelers. And now, for us, this has been a very good venture for us because obviously, people are very much willing to spend on their vacations and very much willing to spend on their relationships to maintain their relationships. Because underneath wanting to go on a vacation to work on their relationships, underneath it all, is that many people are depending on them to work it out. It's not just their relationship. It's not just their own self-esteem. It's the families, it's the communities that depend on people to be able to withstand the rigors of life and to be able to connect and to be able to be their best selves. So for us, it's been good. Since 2016, we have been cited as the best couples retreat by the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, several others that can't even be listed here. And of course, business is good. Each private retreat is upwards of $12,000 to $15,000, and group retreats run somewhere in the region of $5,000 to $7,000 as well, with 40 to 60% margins. So it's a good business for us. However, scaling challenges have come up. So, of course, when you're dealing with transformations, people dealing with infidelity, people recovering from different aspects of relationship repair or relationship injury, the major problem here is that it takes time to be able to effect those types of transformation. And so it really is facilitator dependent. So in other words, when I talk about my wife being a really super therapist, being able to achieve that kind of transformation in a very short space of time is a very difficult prospect. And even though we've manualized that and we try to bring in some different therapists to satisfy the capacity, it has been a challenge because it is not a normal skill for therapists to have. And the other part of it is, well, as you can tell from a $12,000 to $15,000 price tag, we deal with people who have a pretty penny to spend. And therefore, there's money being left on the table when you consider that 66% of people go on vacation to work on their relationships. So money is being left on the table. So how do we address that? And that's where we got to with Georgetown Ventures. So our next step is to be able to allow people to take their retreats on vacation with them or use them at home via our online programs and community, which is going to be called the Lovers Society. Now, to set up this infrastructure, we worked with Georgetown Ventures on CRM and tech, branding and marketing, sales, and research and positioning, because our strengths have been very much in the destination aspects of it, logistics and marketing. But through Georgetown Ventures, we've been working very hard on developing the infrastructure to have these online experiences that really generate the transformation that we're used to. And so our first program that we're coming up with, that we're going to release, actually we're going to launch in December and start in the new year, is a new program called Unlocking Vulnerability and Pleasure for Strong Women. As I mentioned, my wife is a certified sex therapist, and so we're targeting professional women, moms, etc. And we've been doing a lot of market research in order to reach that market. And so, in terms of how you can help us, while you may not be married at this point, or may not be in a place where you want to spend $10,000 to $15,000, these online retreats are designed to be accessible for many. And so what you can do to support us is to go to intimacymoons.com, as well as email me if you have any questions about our retreats, if you'd like to go on a retreat, whether physically or on our Lover Society platform. Please feel free to email me at michael@intimacymoons.com. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. It's been incredible working with you this semester, and I know the GV team has had a terrific time and gotten a ton out of it, so can't thank you enough. Up next, I have the pleasure of introducing I have the pleasure of introducing the EnaHealth team with founders Nirmal Mitra and Abdullah Abdul Karim. They've built an incredibly impactful symptom tracking app, and really excited to share that with you guys. I'm so happy to welcome up now.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nirmal Mitra. I am a double Hoya and one of the co-founders of EnaHealth. Cancer patients today grapple with overwhelming side effects from chemotherapy treatment. And I think this is best explained through a story of a patient. One of my best friends was diagnosed with leukemia. She would meet with her oncologist about once or twice a month for the standard 15-minute sessions. At the start of every one of these appointments, her doctor would always ask her, "How are you doing?" My friend's symptoms from both battling the cancer and the side effects from the treatment would vary daily and sometimes even hourly. Exhausted from battling the disease and overwhelmed with the immense task of trying to convey all these shifts in symptoms, she would often respond, "I'm fine," or just focus on one or two symptoms and not mention the others. This experience is one that is almost universal to cancer patients. In fact, data shows that on average, nearly 60% of a cancer patient's symptoms go unreported to their clinical teams, and doctors simply cannot manage symptoms that they do not know about. This gap in communication results in avoidable complications and unmanaged symptoms. In fact, over half of cancer-related ER visits can be prevented through better symptom management. EnaHealth aims to solve this by enabling patients to easily track their symptoms, summarize that data in dashboards, and share it with their clinical teams. We also surface key resources for patients, such as reading materials and nonprofit support. Oncology practices that offer symptom tracking often use tools that take up to 20 minutes per entry, leading to low patient adherence. Other tools that cater more to the patient aren't geared towards cancer specifically, or are not optimized to share data with their clinical teams. Ena has been designed to be used from the start to finish of a patient's cancer journey, unlike most of our competitors whose tools are designed to be used for a few weeks at a time. We have also optimized our platform to enable patients to input their symptoms in less than 60 seconds in entry, and patients can view a dashboard of insights into these symptoms. We also have features specific to cancer, including 100% HIPAA compliance, enabling caregivers to input symptoms on behalf of patients, and allowing for multiple entries per day. With Ena, patients can track over 44 categories, including mental health, diet, pain, medications, and so much more. Our platform embodies Cure Personalis and Men and Women for Others. Caring for every symptom and every facet of a patient's well-being is crucial to their quality of life, and it can have a massive impact on their outcomes. In fact, multiple meta-analyses and randomized clinical trials over the past few years have shown that effective symptom tracking can even prolong patients' lives in patients who have advanced stage 4 cancer, and as well improve their quality of life at every stage of their cancer battle. When trialing our platform, a Mayo Clinic oncologist noted, "I can get more out of reading your report for 5 minutes than an hour-long patient interview." And bridging this communication gap between patients and clinicians is exactly what we set out to do. Over the next 3 slides, I'm just going to quickly run through some screenshots of our platform. So here you can see the first page of our PDF report, where we use machine learning to automatically organize the report with symptoms that have been the most disruptive to the patient at the top. Here you can see how we display information such as mental health and sleep and steps for physicians to quickly be able to glean the most important information for their patients when they're going into these sessions. And here you can see the patient side of our platform. With our app has been designed with clear visuals and easy entries to enable the easiest path for the patient when they're using our platform. Our monetization strategy is two-part. We have a B2C arm where we employ a freemium model where we charge $6 per month per patient, and a B2B arm where we partner with clinics and oncology clinics and hospitals and have a subscription model. Through Georgetown Ventures, we've worked with an incredible team and accelerated our product in 3 main areas, which are product development, marketing and user acquisition, and partnership building. Our team has conducted multiple projects across all of these sectors and significantly helped accelerate our product. Our team has a background in medicine, cancer survivorship, project management, and software engineering. My co-founder, Abdullah, is a cancer survivor and also on the patient advisory board at Memorial Sloan Kettering. He also has a background in go-to-market analytics at Flatiron Health, an oncology tech company. I'm a third-year medical school student at Georgetown University School of Medicine and co-founder of Enna Health, a healthcare-related international nonprofit. Our engineer is currently completing his PhD in computer science at Carnegie Mellon. While we don't have everyone on the team in this photo, we just wanted to give a big thank you to our Georgetown Ventures team. These analysts and our project manager worked incredibly hard over the past few months over a wide range of projects, and they brought incredible passion, energy, and just incredible ideas that we are so grateful for, and we thoroughly enjoyed working with them. As we look ahead, we would love to continue to get any help or feedback as we look to continue to accelerate patient acquisition, continue to build and formalize LOIs with our key B2B partners, and look to conduct a trial with oncology clinics or a hospital network, and just continue to refine our product to better serve our patients, caregivers, and physicians. Thank you.
Check. Thank you, Nirmal. Really appreciate having the chance to work with you this semester. I know your team had an incredible time, so thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Now, before introducing our keynote speaker, I just want to take the chance to share some exciting opportunities happening around Georgetown's campus. On the far left side, if you are a student and looking for an internship or a full-time job, make sure to check out the virtual Startup Career Fair being hosted tomorrow on Zoom by Georgetown Entrepreneurship. If you're interested, you can scan that QR code to learn more about how to register and just learn more about the event in general. Also, DC TAV, which is the DC Tech and Venture Coalition, they work really closely with GU Entrepreneurship, and they're building out the tech and innovation space within GU Entrepreneurship. Last month, they ran the first annual DC University Startup Showdown at DC Startup Week, which worked to highlight a top tech startup from each local university in kind of a bracket-style competition. Additionally, they'll be launching the DC TAV Tech Core, which creates opportunities for university students to work on real technology projects throughout the year. Students wanting to get involved can sign up through that QR code, and you can also visit dctav.co. All you have to do is click on the sign up button and fill out that contact form. Lastly, we are now taking applications for our spring 2024 GV cohort, for our startup cohort. If you are a startup founder or even just have an idea, please do not hesitate to apply or reach out with any questions. You can scan that QR code for more details and the application. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Sina Tarazi, the founder and CEO of Naya, a health tech company that is reinventing the way consumers choose their benefits through personalization. We really can't thank you enough for coming, and I'm really excited to hear from you. The discussion will be moderated by Bella Avellino, who is our GV Director of Community. Awesome.
Awesome. So I'm Bella, and we're super appreciative of Sina coming into town today from New York and talking to us. Sina's actually a double Hoya. He went to MSB undergrad and then the Georgetown University Law Center. So we're super excited to have you. And to give a little bit more background, he also founded Ziva Investment Group on campus, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with. And we're super excited to learn more about Naya and your experience at Georgetown as well. So I guess just to start us off, could you talk a little bit about Naya, what it is, and kind of what prompted you to start Naya?
Absolutely, and it's great to be here with everyone, and I have to say I'm super impressed with the whole Georgetown Ventures movement. You guys do a great job, and to the companies who are in the arena every day, it's great to be here with you guys. So I'm 33. 14 years ago, I was trying to start a student-run investment fund to invest in emerging markets, and actually, funnily enough, my company turns 4 today. So 4 years and 1 day ago, I was like unemployed. And today, mainly due to the hard work of a lot of other people, we run a team of about 150 or so out of New York. We serve 1.2 million people in the United States, including a lot of Fortune 500 companies. So a lot of my friends who graduated from Georgetown with me, they were recently, I just got married, and they said to me, anytime I have a challenge, I'm like, if freaking Sina can do it, I can do it. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but the reason why I share the story with all of you is you can totally do it. You can absolutely do it. It might come at the price of work-life balance, it might come at the price of a few other things, but if if this is what you're interested in, if solving problems, creating things is what you're passionate about, I mean, don't sell yourself short. God knows where you could be 4 years and 1 day from now. It's not that long. So about Naya, we're a company. You all will graduate. Many have graduated, and you'll into the workforce at Bank of America or wherever it is, and you'll be like getting in the groove. Your associates training you. There's the MD walking down the hall, working long hours, whatever it is. The last thing you're thinking about is, what benefits do I need? Which health plan should I take? You wake up and with a sore throat, and you start to figure out, like, hey mom, what should I do? Where should I go? It's pretty ridiculous because this is something that companies, Starbucks spent more money on employee benefits last year than coffee beans. And even with the strike and everything going on, GM and Ford are spending more this year on health insurance than they are steel. And at the same time, you're joining all these jobs and whatever it is, and like employees don't understand what's on offer. They don't understand what they should appreciate, what they should do, how they should use it, what they should choose. And so Naya, which means renewal in some languages, is a company that comes and steps in and works with these companies, works with these employees, and is a guide for you throughout that journey of your life that you don't necessarily really want to deal with. And that's what we do.
That's awesome. I was just curious if you've had any challenges, like through starting this company. Maybe you could share like a recent challenge.
Challenges are like every single day. Basically, one thing that I would say, like, to really highlight as because I was reading about the Launchpad and what's the other one?
Venture Accelerator.
Venture Accelerator. So when you start out, you have no momentum. You literally stand still. You have no momentum in sales. You have very little momentum in product. You have very little momentum in research. You have very little momentum in pricing. And that's pretty brutal. I mean, you have to like literally will any of these things like into existence. And what I think is so cool about what you guys are doing here is this organization is helping companies that have no momentum with momentum, and at a time when they really need it. And so whether it's the capital, whether it's the that people will need, or the research, or all those other things, I think it's awesome. we just struggled. I mean, the first year, you just have to kind of work. I think probably the biggest challenge has been trying to divide up your non-work life from your work life. That I still am struggling with that today.
I think at Georgetown we struggle with that too as students. So I guess going off of like the challenges on the other hand, in terms of your company's success, it was just announced that you have a strategic deal with MetLife. So congratulations on that. Could you talk a little bit about that deal and like how that came about, I guess?
Yeah. So the good news is a very wise man once told me you only have to get rich once, and it's kind of true in startups as well. We just kept building, really like everything else that I think looking back that you do that's not building product or generating some sort of sales or indirectly doing that is sort of a little bit of a waste of time. We had so many doors shut in our face over the years. Hey, your product's missing this. Hey, your product's missing that. Hey, your product's missing this. But you kind of keep going. So we had the chance to meet the executive team at MetLife. By the way, Georgetown community like really matters. Like that sort of happened through this whole thing. So, and we showed them what we were working on, and they said, "This is what our customer advisory board is asking us for." And so I wish they would have just been like, "Okay, cool, we'll buy it." But we actually went through like 1 year of pain of them asking us like every single question, negotiating every single point. The legal bill was like $430,000, which I can't believe. And that was, so we closed this deal. The deal means that 96 of the Fortune 100 will use our product starting over the next 3 years. And a lot of the companies that I'm sure people here will go and work with. But more importantly, like than the actual, whatever our company did with MetLife, the learning that I would want to share is it was really the first time that, I just like, I wasn't good enough. It was about the team. And if there's one thing that I can share wherever you are on your entrepreneurial journey, whether it's like, hey, maybe in 10 years, or I'm in it right now, watching they say like the room you're in, if you're the smartest person there, then you've made the dumbest decisions or whatever it is. So just watching, taking a back seat, which was incredibly frustrating and hard, and watching sort of this leadership team go and execute at this level that I had never seen before, for me was, and so I think that the lesson there is, think about who you surround yourself with, think about who you ask advice from, and think about how, the people you hire or the people you work with is the single most important decision that you will ever make. Everything else can be, the ideas, they're almost secondary. They'll change a lot. But like the people that you have working with you, they won't change as often, and I think that's what we learned from that experience.
Yeah, for sure. I think through Georgetown Ventures, we're surrounded by such a strong and like smart group of students here. So definitely learn a lot through just like being immersed in this special community on campus. So that makes sense and resonates with us as well. Awesome. So I guess like looking ahead for NAYA, do you have like a next goal for your company or like a next milestone you're trying to reach?
So I have to give a very small shout out to my new wife who's here, and for those of you, for those of you who don't know, because you're normal people, unlike me, like 80% of employee benefits are selected in the U.S. in November, and so this is like a really bad time for me, and so I found out when she set up our wedding, and she was in November. I was like, I can't get married. We can't get married in November. It's benefits enrollment season. What are you thinking? And she was like, okay, Sina, come on. And so then when this event came up, I think we had a call. You guys were very impressive, and you guys were like, oh, what day is it today? November?
The 14th.
14th. And they were like, yeah, will you come? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll let you know. And I was like, there's no way. And then she said, look, Georgetown is so important to you, and you gotta she sort of set me straight. To answer your question, actually, she came up with this idea of NAYA's like TurboTax for your employee benefits.
That's really cool.
And last year, 31 million people used TurboTax. So we just hit 1 million people. And since, entrepreneurs, you're always kind of, you get there, you're satisfied for like 13 seconds, and then you're, beating yourself up again. I think the next goal is we'd like to get to 32 million people.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Let's see how it works.
Great. So I guess our next question is more like Georgetown focused. You're obviously a double Hoya. Do you have like a favorite memory from campus, or like a special thing that you remember most about being on campus, whether that was like MSB or law school?
Well, it definitely would have been MSB, not law school, but we'll leave that one aside. Look, here's one thing I can share. Graduation was crazy. I just, the next day I had such a hole inside of me, and this network, this community, which by the way, has become so incredible even since the last, so much more transformational since I was here. But your friends, the tombs, everything. By the way, I just saw on the drive down, they took away the buffalo chicken sandwich. That's pretty unacceptable. I'll give them product feedback tonight. But the point is, I think the memory that stands out to me is how I realizing how much Georgetown meant to me once it was gone. So I had to come and get a second, round, which wasn't quite the same, but we won't talk about that. What I'm trying to share is, cherish it, for sure. I know it's impossible to cherish something that you have right now, but it's really special. And in New York, I'm sure wherever else you're going to move, the community's so freaking strong and close and impressive, and it's good to stay involved and do what you can, because it's a cool place.
Yeah, the years definitely fly by. So awesome. It sounds like NIA definitely has a really exciting future ahead, and it's already been super successful. I guess just to wrap us up, it would be great if you had any final advice for also the founders and the students in our organization as well.
I think I might just reiterate one of the points I shared early on. Just be really thoughtful about the people you surround yourself with, and be really thoughtful about the advice you're getting, whether it's from an executive coach or a friend or a Georgetown Ventures, or there's just the network that you build. I know I'm sort of hitting the same point over and over again, but it's totally important. People who want to see you succeed, there are a lot of those people out there. There's at least one sitting on this stage, probably two, and so that would be my biggest takeaway. Would be really think about who you're surrounding yourself with, and for all of you who are part of this community, I think you're already on the road. So I'm sure with this many people behind you, you're going to have a very good run.
Awesome. Well, on behalf of Georgetown Ventures, thank you so much for coming today. It was great to learn more about NIA.
Thank you. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Sina. That was awesome. I hope someone from Tombs is here so we can set that error straight. I'm sorry about that, but that was really terrific. Really appreciate that, and thank you for coming and making time for us. That was awesome. Now I'm really excited to launch us into the next phase of our night, where we'll be hearing from our 5 Launchpad startups. Our Launchpad program leads founders through the Lean Startup curriculum, and we really try to position them to reach a point of product launch by the end of the semester. The first founder we'll be hearing from is Broderick, who has the startup Jamming Together, and he's on a mission to revitalize local music and local musicians. So excited to pass off the floor to him.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Just want to ask a quick question. Who listened to music today? If you could just raise your hand. All right, cool. Then you'll want to listen to this. So I'm Broderick Neil Feller, co-founder and CEO of Jammin' Together, and our whole goal is to simplify local live music. So I grew up in the DMV area, went to high school not too far from here, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but after graduation, I ended up at the Naval Academy and not Georgetown. After graduation from the academy, I joined the submarine community where I went down to South Carolina for 2 years, and then I got stationed on that submarine for 3 years outside of Seattle. And on that submarine, I spent 365 days underwater. So what that caused, as you can imagine, is a pretty fractured relationship with my brother, just based on time at sea, time zones, distance, and everything. So I did everything I could to get moved back to the East Coast and reconnect with my younger brother. And so, of course, as we're catching up and he's asking me what life is like on a submarine, I ask him, how's being a gig musician in the DC area? And his answer was that it sucks. He was very frustrated trying to get booked at new bars and restaurants that he hadn't performed at before. He found it very hard and difficult to find other musicians to play with, and he just really struggled marketing himself as a musician. So naturally, as the older brother, I thought he was just being a lazy sack of potatoes, and I kind of ignored his situation. And then we kind of talked more and more, and then he introduced me to some of his musician friends, and they echoed his experience, that while balancing life and family, that's just difficult, trying to get booked at new places while promoting yourself and live out your passion. So I looked at the other side of it, where I talked to my friend Joe, who owns Stan and Joe's in Annapolis, who's proud to host live music every weekend. And his big thing was that he's focused on staffing, he's focused on inventory, especially as inflation's gone up, and he's just really worried about running a razor-thin margin business and keeping it afloat. So at the end of the day, I had musicians who want to play live music. They want to live out their passion, but they're just busy with life, and they find it very hard to get booked and play gigs. And then I got bar owners who want to have live music, but they're just busy running a business and don't know how to find the up-and-coming musicians to book. So we're going to turn this thing upside down, and we're going to allow the venues to be their own booking agents. So how's this going to work? We're going to allow musicians and venues to create searchable profiles that are then verified by us to easily and efficiently book each other for promoting more music in the area. So as you can see here, this is what we have in the works. That'll be launched early in January, where you can easily just search by genre, location, and see who's around you, and then filter by their needs. This may sound simple, but when you think of hundreds of musicians in this area and then hundreds of places that host live music, everyone has their own processes and procedures and what they want and everything, and no one's on the same page. So our goal is to essentially just create a big database that provides the venues all the information they need. So rather than spending an hour trying to book somewhere, it can take 5 minutes booking a musician. So remember, right now the process right now for musicians to get booked is cold calling, leaving messages, which clearly does not allow them to understand what type of music, what type of style, or whatnot. And then also, a lot of gigs are passed via word of mouth. So if Michael's in a band and he's sick, he's going to call up me and be like, hey, can you fill in for me? If that venue likes me, I'll get on their quarterly roll, and now I have a gig. It's crazy. And then, so this whole process is just very inefficient, so we're going to streamline everything. And so right now, we have an MVP launch, which is promoting music right now. And we have 36 venues and 106 musicians who are so excited about what we're building that we're just helping them promote their music right now. As you can see, Ryan Betts of a local Baltimore band thinks our site's going to be a fucking blessing to his daily life. So we're going to roll this out. Conveniently enough, I'm on the board of the DMV Music Alliance, which sees a lot of localized pockets and very clickiness within the DC music community. So we can roll that out with them, as well as through a simple referral program. So as we get a venue on board, they'll have 6 to 8 musicians play there that month, and then we can reach out to those musicians about helping them get on our site, getting them more gigs, getting them more fans, and then again, we can get the other music venues that they play at and continue to grow this thing. So like I said, right now we're just promoting events. At the beginning of the year, we'll launch out our booking program. And our goal is to have 500 bookings next year, and then we'll just continue to grow this thing and use data to scale this and move to the next city. So it's been a pleasure being a part of this GV program. Like I said, I didn't go to Georgetown. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But I had a badass team working with me who built this deck. They called booking agents. I forced them to go bar hopping with me, and it was a really big struggle getting them engaged. So I just want to say thank you to them. I want to thank my advisors who I've been working with who have experience in the startup scene and music industry. And our ask today is that you check out our site. Right now, this week, we're promoting 50 events in the DC area, and we're looking for introductions to people who have built communities from 0 to 1 to 10,000, and introductions to any angel investors in the music industry. Again, I'm Broderick. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, Broderick. That was awesome. I have to say, I'm kind of shocked they were forced to go bar hopping, but it's a pretty cool objective for the team. Next, I'm really happy to invite Claire Lee and her company Celeb up to the stage, which she founded with her sister Chloe Lee. Celeb is a unique solution to combat fake influencing.
Got the mic this time. Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Claire. My sister and I are co-founders, and we are building the future of online shopping. We're doing this by drawing inspiration from the past. The past being an age-old technique that we all use, word of mouth, right? So word of mouth is single-handedly going to power Celeb, which is a platform where you will be able to see what anyone is buying, from your best friend to your favorite influencer, no holds barred. So a little bit about us before I get into it. I've been in resale, Chloe and I both, since early teens. We were super young. We opened up our first Poshmark account in 2013, which was when Poshmark was still in their second year of operations. So super early on, grew a following of over 650,000 users in less than 4 years. And then alongside that, we were also fashion creators. We had our own respective fashion blogs. We're generating hundreds and thousands of monthly impressions every single month. And, you know, inking deals with the likes of Urban Outfitters, Tumi, Revolve, etc. And so we were in this space for a really long time, and we grew really frustrated, and we were just overwhelmed with the cesspool of just really low quality listings, just the depersonalization, the soulless scrolling. It was tiresome to be shopping on secondhand platforms. And so we started Celeb 1.0 in fall of 2021 as a way to kind of combat this sort of drudgery of secondhand shopping. So Celeb 1.0 was a resale marketplace where you could see what creators, influencers, celebs had in their closets, and they could auction those pieces off to you. So you'd be buying a piece that someone wore on their Instagram, for example. And we had over 200 sellers with a combined 50 million follower count. And, you know, we were generating hundreds of thousands of monthly impressions as well. The two high-level learnings from running Celeb 1.0 was that, number one, voyeurism was actually the user behavior that stood out to us the most, right? So people wouldn't actually come necessarily to shop, but they used Celeb as sort of a repository of intel and interesting information about what people were buying. And then second to that, which was also interesting, was that consumers are super savvy, super smart, and discerning. They can sniff inauthenticity and, you know, fake fraudulence from miles and miles away. If there was even a whiff of PR, meaning if it was a gifted item or it was an item used in a sponsored campaign, for example, people wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. It was super interesting to witness. So, kind of tying all these learnings together, what we noticed in Celeb 1.0 was really a symptom of a broader disease of misinformation that abounds in the recommendation and the review landscape. Consumers are overwhelmed. Almost 40% of all e-commerce online spending is driven by fraudulent reviews. That's 40%. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars sitting on the table right there. And that doesn't even begin to cover quote-unquote non-fraudulent content. So like sponsored content, paid ads, free PR gifts, things that clearly have an incentive behind them. And so that's what we're here to solve with Celeb 2.0. Celeb 2.0 brings transparency, brings accountability back to the shopping experience. If you want to recommend a product, show us that you bought it on your own dime. Show us that you have skin in the game and that you shelled out your hard-earned dollars to make a purchase that hurts your pocketbook, because then people are listening. How it works is very simple. You connect your email and we take care of the rest. We run a script through your email inboxes with read-only access, and we locate all of your order confirmations for you, extract SKU level data, so we have all this specific product info, and then you then get to choose which photos and products you want to share to a live feed to your friends, etc. And you make money off of commissions and any sales that you help facilitate. Today, we are going to be making money through affiliate revenues, keeping it very simple. But tomorrow, we are going to go head-to-head with Amazon, and we're going to own the entire shopping experience end-to-end and onboard every single third-party merchant under the sun. That's the goal. We thought to ourselves, this is a really strange behavior, like sharing receipts, sharing purchases. It's a little odd, like, would people actually do it? So we actually created a testing environment on a private Instagram account with a little over 100 of the coolest tastemakers that we know in New York City. And even within this small petri dish of users, we've been seeing insane engagement. Like, people are just obsessed with the product being very restrictive. You have to manually forward your receipts. You can't even filter on the Instagram account. Obviously, it's an Instagram account. And on top of all of that, you're having to deal with lack of privacy controls. You don't get to control who sees what. And so we have, over 90% daily active users. We've influenced tens of thousands of dollars every month worth of spending from this account alone. And we're getting over 500 receipts every single week. We can't even keep up at this point. In terms of traction, we hope to launch early 2024. And we already have a deep bench of tastemakers and people who are ready to go to bat for us once we launch our product, from Ford, Overheard, and from TikTok. So today, Celeb will be a place where you can see what your friends are buying, but tomorrow we become the world's largest recommendation engine. And so we need your help to find the right strategic partners to join us on our journey, and to help us propel that growth. For you, a receipt is the end of a purchase journey. For Celeb, it's just the beginning. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. That was awesome. Up next, really happy to introduce Amari and founders Jack Misko and Maria. It's the founding MBA team that is looking to realign incentives in the online dating world.
All right. So I'm Jack Misko, an MBA student here at Georgetown.
I'm Marian Asuncion, also an MBA student here at Georgetown.
And we're Amari, the dating app that's shortening the time from match to meet. So imagine this situation for me. You want to try to find out some information. So what do? Naturally, you go to Google, you type in your search query, you hit enter, and you're presented with a bunch of links. The links at the very top are exactly what you're looking for. But when you go to click on them, you're met with a pop-up that says if you want access, you're going to have to pay Google a monthly subscription fee. There's some links you can have for free, but they're not really exactly what you're looking for. This is the modern dating app experience. There's nearly 30 million Americans on smartphone dating apps, a market that's grown by 75% since 2017. However, 75% of these people are unhappy with their current experience. When you ask them why that is, it's because they're seeing a lack of engagement on the apps that they're currently on, and the matches and likes that they are getting aren't really compatible with what they're looking for in a potential partner. So what's the disconnect here? There's always people looking for matches, and there's plenty of platforms that are trying to serve it to them. Well, the reason is because there's a misalignment of incentives between dating apps and their users. All throughout the user experience, they're trying to monetize their user base, whether it's through premium subscriptions, paying for better profile visibility, or paying for prioritized likes. The best possible scenario for these apps is for their user base to stay on the app indefinitely, liking, swiping, looking at advertisements, all the while their quote-unquote best matches are being dangled right in front of them just behind a paywall. And hopefully they become frustrated enough to actually go ahead and buy that. So we realize all these other apps, they're not really dating apps per se. they're just chatting apps. They couldn't care less whether or not you actually go on a date, and they couldn't care less whether or not they match you with a profile that's really compatible with what you're looking for. In fact, they're incentivized not to do that because then you leave the platform. So we at Amari asked ourselves, how do we realign these incentives? How do we put dating apps and their users on the same team? How do we prioritize the user experience by serving up quality matches that lead to engaging dates?
So that's where we came in. And we're different because our customers are actually restaurants, not the daters. We flipped the business model to realign our incentives so that we only get paid if our daters go on dates. But how does it work? So what we do at Amari is very similar to what the normal products are out in the day until you get to this chatting function. At the bottom hand of the screen, you'll have a Let's Date function. Once you press it, you get an integrated calendar and a carousel of Amari's partner restaurants. From there, you'll choose your availability and the preferred location for your date. Once that's settled, you'll send it over to your match. And when they accept and everyone gets to the restaurant on the first date, the Amari app will flash. And daters will get a freebie on us, just to make sure that the date's going well. So we just wanted to take this out for a spin in our first MVP. In 48 hours, we saw 42 profiles, which led to 4 dates. And then we applied a standard industry restaurant reservation app model, similar to what OpenTable and Resy use today, that equated to $11.50 of generated revenue for Amari in just 48 hours. People were literally filling out a Google form. So then, in our second MVP, we just wanted to validate the business model. We continued our relationships with our established partners and even found a restaurateur who's willing to pay 4 times much more than the industry standard. And then we grew our relationships with other partners and added 10 more additional restaurants to the Amari waiting list. All that to say, we proved the value of Amari to our partners, generating buzz, providing qualitative data, and driving traffic on low traffic days. So what we've discovered is that realigning incentives actually leads to better dates. Other apps want to keep you swiping. We want to get you on dates, which means the value of our product extends the longer you use it, past being single. We imagine ourselves being integrated to the dating journey by continuously serving up dating app experiences and restaurant recommendations. So, where are we going? Right now, our app is in development, and in January, we're building out our partnerships and branding, all while building out a wait list for our app launch in Q2 of 2024 in Washington, D.C. The Amari team has deep operating experience building products and also employing strategy. But right now, we're looking for our perfect match. Whether you have experience in the dating app industry, introductions to other developers who are experienced in chatbot or AI functionality, or just connections in hospitality, feel free to contact us at our email and follow us on Instagram to see where we progress. So by flipping the business model and realigning incentives with daters, we're shortening the time from match to meet, and that's Amari. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Up next, happy to introduce Preserve Petals, Lucinda Backen. It's a really cool business where they take flowers that are used at important ceremonies, like weddings and other important events, and turn those into keepsakes that people can use. Me and Lucinda are actually co-workers at Yates, so I think we have a shift in a couple hours, but it's cool to see her out doing real stuff instead of just picking up basketballs. But happy to invite her up now to take the floor.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucinda, and I'm the founder of Preserve Petals. So my mom started her dried flower company when I was in 3rd grade, and so I've been working there for over 10 years now, and you might not think that equates to a lot of experience because, you know, I was in 3rd grade, but that right there is me. From the very, very beginning, we were, it was my whole family. We started in our backyard, and we were growing, we picked, and then we preserved all of our own flowers that we used in our arrangements. And it was this process that gave me the experience and taught me the lessons that I needed starting my own company, Preserve Petals. So this is my mom. Eventually, we outgrew our basement, and we opened our first storefront. And this is where I met the first customers of Preserved Petals, because people would just come in, and all they wanted was for us to preserve their sentimental flowers, which unfortunately was not a service that we offered. All we did was actually design with dried flowers, and that process is completely different. Even though we had been preserving for years, the process of preserving post-event flowers is completely different. And so in 2020, I started Preserved Petals, which aims to take special event flowers that are sentimental to people, such as, wedding bouquets, sometimes funeral sprays, and then we preserve them, put them in shadow boxes so that they can be enjoyed for years to come. So, how does it work? Start by placing an order on our website, then drop your flowers off at one of our designated locations. Then the rest is up to us. I've been preserving flowers for over a decade, and we would always use natural methods, hang drying flowers, and so I know both how to do that, but also the limitations it has. And so, sometimes it'll take 2 months to preserve flowers in that way, but by incorporating silica, I can cut that down to about a week. And that's super, super important because as the flowers are being preserved, they continue to age, they continue to wilt, and they continue to lose their color. And so shortening that process is critical to making them stay beautiful. After that, you'll be sent, as soon as your order is ready, you'll be sent an email to come pick them up, and you can start enjoying your arrangements. So what sets us apart from everybody else? Well, first of all, because we operate on a pick-up and drop-off model, we can virtually guarantee the quality of our products, which our online sellers cannot, and it ends up looking a little bit like that. Second is we prioritize sustainability. We're not 100% of the materials that we use during the preservation process are 100% renewable, which not only helps our margins, as you'll see later, but also helps the environment. And we're also not emitting toxic fumes during our processes like resin art does. We're also able to preserve virtually any flower there is. For instance, when pressing flowers, you can't press crispettia, you can't press straw flowers because they're too thick. And then when it comes to resin art, sometimes the chemical reaction will actually generate enough heat to burn the flowers and discolor them. So you can't put super light colored flowers that are fragile in certain types of resin. Those are none of our issues since we only focus on using silica and natural methods. Most importantly, we focus on floral integrity. All the flowers that we preserve, we want to return them to you looking as close to how you gave them to us as possible. We don't want to deconstruct them and smush them down, and we don't want to coat them in plastic or have them look shriveled like that. We want them to look exactly like how you gave them to us because that's how we preserve the memories. So, what are our results? Well, in the couple months after our first impromptu order, we accidentally generated over $20,000 in revenue. And by accidentally, I mean that there was absolutely no customer acquisition cost. There was no marketing. This was all through walk-ins to my parents' shop. It wasn't on their website. It wasn't on social media. It was just people and word of mouth. And actually florists recommending people to us because there was nowhere else for them to go. So how much does $20,000 in revenue actually translate to? Well, this product right here costs about $500, which as you saw in the cost breakdown or in the analysis before, that's pretty competitive. The only real main cost we have is the shadow box, because like I said, to process the actual flowers, everything that we use is 100% renewable. Then, just to put something else up there, sometimes we'll use glue, we'll put in some moss, and that will cost us about $1.50. And so our overall profit margin ends up being around 97%. And this is pretty consistent for all of our products. So what have we accomplished thus far? Like I said, $20,000 in revenue. You've heard me say it 1,000 times at this point. We've officially launched in DC. All that revenue was generated in Wisconsin, but now we finally have a website. We're digital. We have social media now. And we've also started partnering with 8 local florists who have agreed either to recommend people to customers to us, or to offer our business as an extension service. So what's next on our radar? Well, we want to get orders, specifically in DC. We really want to target the DC market. But once that happens and we have that representation in the DC market, we can't wait to offer a wider variety of products. We don't want to just do weddings. We want to do anniversaries. We want to do quinceañeras. We want to do anniversaries, birthdays, graduations. There's so many different options. And then we also want to do different products. We don't want to just do shadow boxes. We want to do single flower preservation. We want to do gift boxes and all sorts of different stuff. The opportunities are really endless, and we're just getting started. And finally, we want to eventually offer shipping. Once we can guarantee the quality of our products through shippers, we want to offer shipping because that is critical to scaling. And we plan to do that by working with fresh florists that already know and are educated on how to ship and preserve fresh flowers. And we already have 2 of those companies that have expressed interest in working with us. So, what can you guys do to help? Well, if you're getting married, if you know somebody that's getting married, or if you're just interested in our products in general, we'd love for you to check out our website. We just started social media, so we'd love for you guys to follow us there, share us with all of your friends. And then we also are looking for connections. Like I said, we have 8 local connections, but we'd love to connect with more florists, venues, wedding planners. If you worked with any of those and you've enjoyed it, please refer them to us. We'd love to connect with them. And that's it.
Thanks, Lucinda. Knowing those profit margins, I think we all should have gotten into the flower space. Lastly, I'm really excited to introduce Link with founders Jay and Jason. They met over the summer as interns in New York and have spent the last few months experimenting with how to reduce friction in plan coordination.
Appreciate it. Thank you all for taking the time to be here tonight. My name's Jay. I'm the co-founder of Link. Just out of curiosity, just for a show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you guys have been meaning to meet with someone sometime this month but haven't been able to plan it? Just for a curious show of hands. Exactly. It's a problem a lot of us face on a day-to-day basis, and Jason and I thought it would be a great project for our senior year to try to solve this. So Jason and I came up with the idea for Link this summer interning in New York. As you do, interning in New York in finance in the summer, we were working long nights at a Saturday night, and I was just complaining to Jason basically that my plans on Friday night blew up due to some fall through of social communication and also trying to find a central meeting spot in New York. As you know, it takes a long time to get around the city. And Jason his initial thoughts were, this is probably the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Like, who needs an app to go hang out with friends? Like, that should just be a text message. That's the way it should be. And so a week goes by, and Jason calls me on a Saturday night being like, dude, I just had the same problem you had last week. My plans just blew up on me. Like, we definitely, we have to go see if other people are having this problem. So we interned our entire intern class. We talked to some friends at Georgetown who were interning at other places. We were finding that a lot of people were also having the same problem that we were having of social plans falling through and not having a medium of really to create these plans with their friends. So Jason and I, thanks to Michael and GV for letting us in, decided to spend our time this semester building this app. So going to our vision for Link, we want Link to be the place where within a few clicks you can create the perfect event with you and your friends for that night. A lot of people spend a lot of time on social media. We've really done a really good job of making the digital world a really exciting and appealing place, but the same hasn't happened for the physical world yet. We want Link to be that bridge for people for in real life interaction. So what have we been doing in GV? So we started out with very simply sending out a Google form with a couple questions. You would just outline what 3 events you wanted to have in that week, and we would help set that up with you with this really fancy Excel document. So a lot of you guys actually signed up for the events, so we're really thankful for you guys being beta testers. So in all, we created about 90 events between Georgetown and Columbia, and we found that the feedback from our initial users was really positive, but they wanted this to be an app form. People don't really want to fill out Google Forms, and they don't really like calendar invites coming to them last minute from Skylar about Bordeaux. So So we decided to pivot off that, but thought we had a really good validation for our initial idea. So this brought us to our 2.0. So very simply, you'd be able to put in what event you wanted to do for that day. We give a couple suggestions of places to meet, and you would just invite your friends and send that invite out. And we decided very scrappily over one weekend of Figma, thank you for the team for spending 10 hours being in Laos, stuck with me the entire day, we decided to go product test this and see what user feedback would be. This brought us to our 2.5. People really resonated with our idea, thought it was a little bit ugly, the first 2.0, so we decided to improve it a little bit. Simply, you'd have a quick chat, or there'd be a couple prompts suggesting what you'd want to go do tonight. After a very short chat sequence, you'd be able to select what friend groups you wanted to hang out with, and we would give recommendations based on your personal preferences and send it out to your friends. Going to our feedback on that, people really liked the idea, but we found from our 1.0 that people really don't have up-to-date calendars, and we were struggling with trying to create network effects for an app like this. Any great social app needs network effects, and we found that people thought that the first couple MVPs were just a little bit too much buy-in to solve the problem. So we came up with a novel idea with 3.0. As being college kids, a lot of us are free spontaneously throughout the day, but don't really want to go text all our friends trying to figure out times to hang out. So we thought simply that you'd be able to toggle, ping what friends that you're free and available to hang out. They would get a notification when they also pinged on, and then we'd create a chat feature where you'd be able to go hang out with them. So that was our learnings from the 2.0, and we thought this would be a better way to solve the cold start problem. And so we went out to the market to product test this, and we found people really liked the idea of our pivot to our 3.0. So going upon that, we decided to refine the UI UX, and this launched us to our beta app, where simply you'd toggle when you're free, tell what friends you want to hang out with, and that would take you to a feed feature where you could just see spontaneously what people would be up to that day. Going to our team, so really excited to have this awesome team backing us. So on the technical side, we have Cyrus and Alvin, who are both CS majors at Harvard, have been up to that quite a bit, really excited to hang out with a team like that. And on the product development side, hiring and fundraising, we have Jason and I, who met this past summer. So really excited to have this team working with us, and we really think we have the expertise and vision to take this through. Going to our next steps for Link, a lot of you have actually signed up for our beta, so really excited to have you guys on board very soon. So later this week, we'll be launching our beta. Later on, if you guys want to sign up, the URL is just joinlink.app. But we'll be launching our beta at Columbia, Georgetown, and Harvard, trying to sign up our first 100 users on each campus. After that, we'll be testing our traction, seeing sort of what were people enjoying our app, what was traction looking like, while also coming up with new ideas to A/B test. After that incubation period, we'll be trying to expand user count, the number of schools that we also target while optimizing our usage metrics. And then after that, we'll be experimenting with a 2.0 or potentially pivoting into the future. So what are our asks today? So if anyone knows any advisors with experience in consumer internet or successfully scaled apps before, that'd be really helpful for us in this new journey. And also with funding, if anyone knows investors or angels who have experience in consumer internet, we'd really love to speak with them today. But our contact information is on the left, and thank you guys so much, and really appreciate the GV team for helping out so much this semester. And thank you to Michael for letting us join GV even though we applied 2 weeks late. So really appreciate it, but thank you guys very much and appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Jay. Also, just one last hand for all the startups that presented tonight, and thank you everyone for coming. Before you guys go, we'd love your input in selecting tonight's People's Choice Award. There will be one $500 prize to one of the startups across the cohort. Please take a moment and just scan the QR code, and you can vote for the startup you want to receive the prize. final 60 seconds before the voting closes. All right, voting is now closed. Happy to present the winner of tonight's People's Choice Award, Enna Health. We'll get that to you later. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming. Please join us outside of Lorfink for some networking and a reception. Our founders are super excited to meet with all of you. We're all super excited to meet with all of you, and thank you again for coming.